I recently found out that is not a real word. I can't express how angry that makes me. Hello, YouTube. I am back with another replay cast. This one's actually a bit of a double whammy, if you will. We've got two players who are competing in our upcoming tournament. This might be one of the last VODs leading up to the hype for the tournament, but yeah, in the bottom right, spawning red, spawning Terran, it is, of course, uThermal. Just recently cast a game of him versus a laser. You should definitely check that out if you missed it. But his opponent to the top left, it is going to be the blue Zerg player, Reynor. Now, as I mouse over things, I should highlight neither of these guys are playing on their actual accounts, so it's kind of going to look a little bit suspect, like, oh, is Rick just calling this random Terran uThermal? But no, I've done my due diligence, I've done my homework, I've confirmed this is, in fact, uThermal versus Reynor.
Nice.
One of the things I really enjoy about uThermal, I talked about this a lot in the last video, he can play mech all day. He can do Cyclones and Hellions like nobody's business, and we in fact saw that the other day, but I love still the times he plays bio, he does it really well. And well, almost every Terran player out there, you'll hear me cast, I'll be like, oh man, I kind of hope they try mech. I'm actually the complete opposite with uThermal. I'm always like, man, I want to see this guy do Marines, I want to see him do medevacs, I want to see him do tanks, I want to see him do ghosts. But right now, mech is pretty much in the meta for things, and on a map like Kairos Junction, I wouldn't be too shocked to see it. Of course, Reynor, he's been doing pretty good for himself. He made a great name for his run in the WCS Winter Round of 8. I got to cast some of those games, which was a lot of fun too. I know that Reynor tends to have this history of having like amazing online play and then choking a little bit later in some tournaments, which is sad, but it is a truth about him. But man, if he isn't such a good player. His ability to just multitask is perhaps the most impressive thing to me. Looks like he's to take a fast third, by the way, this game. But there's a lot of Zerg players who can set up two angles of an attack, right? Nowadays, it's not so crazy. You know, not all Zerg players just A-move with Roach Hydra. Set up Lings, Banelings, attack from the south, attack from the north, sandwich players in. So it's not really right to herald Reynor as being amazing in that regard, but what he does is he takes it to the next level. This guy's doing that two-pronged attack while doing a run-by, while setting up a third angle, and still making Banelings, and still making drones, and what have you. Like, he's just so good to watch, and oh, this initial Reaper is causing a little bit more trouble than I think Reynor was hoping. He did lose a drone to this, and had to do a quick build cancel. Not the end of the world for our blue Zerg, but things are never fun taking losses early on from something that's usually, I feel, fairly easily denied, like this Reaper. He's going to check for that third, so nice, just confirming his vision. Yep, knows there's a third base. Back for him on his side of the field, he's going to opt in for some Hellions. I'm not sure, but the Tech Lab is most likely going to be for Banshees, although we have seen some small variations of a Raven. More on that if that ends up being the case, but for now, we're going to assume it's Banshees paired up with these Hellions. Really great for early run-bys, sets up for that mech play if you want to play mech, but for now, we'll have to keep an eye on what uThermal's doing. He does have both his gases, so frankly, options are available to him. Go for Cloak, you can go for Stim, you can go for Tanks. Like, the beauty is if you're only playing off of one gas, you're kind of limited, but two gases, you get the freedom to do what you like. And it's actually, hold the phone, going to be a Viking coming out of this. And a Marauder? All right, back this up. We're in uThermal territory. This is kind of cool. I'm not sure if the Hellbats are going to be paired up with this. Typically, an Armory gets thrown down, and you do a Hellbat Marauder push. And the Viking, in this case, might be used to try and push that off. The idea is, scouting for that at least. The idea is that Reynor's not going to have a lot of Overlords out on the map anyways. You rely on creep spread as a Zerg player. So, for scouting. So if you can use that Viking, pick off the 1 or 2 Overlords, you take away the paranoia of worrying about a Nidus Worm, because let's be real, that is still, I think, very much a possibility everyone's afraid of. But then also, you take away the vision of this very important detail of the attack. Just Hellions, or Hellbats and Marines. These are two common ways to open with an attack, and if it's seen and it's expected, then it's dealt with. But in this case, not only is it going to have the ingredients of a normally pretty terrifying attack, it's paired up with Marauders, which is less than average. And you guys will note, I've said this in many casts, the worst part about dealing with Hellbats for the Terran player is everything just walks away from them. Well, it's not Stim that got pumped out early, it's concussive shells, and that's going to hold everything in place. So the Hellbats that normally can't catch those other units, can't keep up with them on creep like the Queens, so they just run away and kite them down, no, they're going to be held in place by these Marauders. And of course, there's going to be a Baneling or two for this, but that's the thing, Marauders don't care about Banelings. You could actually have those soak the hits ideally, or at least spread better. Oh, this Hellbats takes some pretty nasty hits. I'm not sure if he'll pick them up to try and save them. But either way, the Marauders keeping things in place. Viking lands to add some damage to the fight. All these Hellbats have to do is wash off the Lings. And uThermal's attack is so sick. Now keep in mind, I'm getting hyped up for this. Reynor's got 30 Lings on the way. The Medevac's gone. There's not really a lot of sustainability to this. And what he's done is cosmetic damage, right? He's trading out for Lings and Queens. He's not hitting the economy. He's not wrecking drone lines. Well, yeah, hold the phone. These Queens are starting to go down a little bit. But this fairly expensive attack out of our Terran player has more than yielded the value and results, I feel. I mean, look at the resources lost. We can actually compare the units lost straight up. 5 Queens for 8 Hellbats is already a pretty good trade. Then the 33 Lings on top of that. I would say the one regret is losing the Viking, but man, without that Viking, maybe he doesn't get the 5th Queen. A strange attack, but a powerful one nonetheless. And the best part about this is he set up a 3rd base. Now, granted, it's in the wall and he can't move it over just yet, but he has a 3rd base, and that's what's really the keynote of this. Also, additional barracks are being placed down. Stim about halfway done, so it is bio! And I'm so stoked for this! Because all of the many things I praise Reynor for, his multitasking, his ability to be around the map, set up multiple attacks, uThermal can do all of that with bio and drops and be super ridiculous annoying. So, go Team Terran! As my bias shines through here just a little bit. Hellbats, oh, split for the Bailing, so nice! I'm feeling for Reynor this game, guys. I love this. I love him so much. He's so fun to watch, but he is struggling here in the early game. Without a doubt, it's safe to say he's a bit behind from this early attack, and maybe follow-up Hellions could continue to cause problems. He's really got to find a way to punish this 3rd base, or just get ahead in tech. Because that is kind of the beauty of what he has going for him, like Bailey Speed's done, but at the same time Stim's done. If he can take some fights defensively on creep, he will wipe out Marines, no matter what their number looks like early on. But for now, it's just Carapace. uThermal does have both his upgrades on the way, 1 and 1. So both weapons and armor to do some pretty nice damage when he goes for that actual attack. And this is going to be a lot of Marines. Even if there's not many Hellbats paired up with this, these things can do one of 2 jobs. One is either soak the Banelings so the Marines don't have to, or you just fry a bunch of Lings, get them low, and the Marines can execute them. Same job a tank will do, but at a kind of better success rate. However, I do like these run bys out of Reynor. I like that he's being very active on the map. The thing is, if you're being aggressive, your opponent's not pushing into you, they're busy defending, right? It's that age-old saying, the best defense is a good offense. And Reynor's taking it to heart in this game. uThermal's actually going to grab a bunch of Marines and go northwards, and at the moment, no Overlords, there's no creep spread up here. I don't think he'll see this coming. It is but 1 single drop, so it should be manageable and not game-ending, but I think Reynor's going to get caught off guard by it. He does want to go up, but oh, that tank on the high ground gets a huge blast, and these Lings are sent packing. 3rd base for uThermal's being fortified as we speak, but not for naught. Reynor does have a 4th base set up of his own. He's setting up that macro hatchery we're just looking at the main base. And I think Larva will not be an issue for him. There's plenty of injects going around for these Queens. Creep spread, I would not even call lacking. It is about halfway across the map, but it's lacking where it needed to be in the top right side to see this drop. In fact, I don't think the hatchery even saw the drop until it flew directly over it after picking up. 7 mutas on the way. This will be key to chasing down those medevacs, but this game's not going to be all about medevacs. It's just this first drop. Queen's not going to be enough to defend. Reynor does bring some Lings, but not all the Lings home, and this is important because uThermal was setting up a 2-pronged attack. Tank push to the south, while that drop distracts in the north. A lot of these Zerglings in the north would be hugely beneficial to have down here, but that's where those mutas have to spawn. They have to take care of that drop for them. These Queens are going to go down. Marines, oh, nice focus fire. Some of these tumors still being a bit of a nuisance. He's fighting on creep. This is so dangerous for any Terran player, much less uThermal. In this position, he just damaged one of his own tanks, too, with a better friendly fire. It looks like those Marines at the top were picked up, though. Or picked off, excuse me. So Reynor is going to hold there. The mutas now spawns, can start chasing down some things or maybe go for some harass of his own. Okay, he's joined the main army. I was a little curious where these mutas were heading. But I would like to just express calm under fire. Reynor not panicking there. Still continues to take this base. Didn't cancel it out of fear. Didn't cancel it out of the damage it took. And frankly, his Zerg army is looking pretty good, all things considered. He's up, but what, 15-something workers? He's got all the bases to work with. Economy should certainly be in his favor. This, again, this isn't from a tournament. This is from them playing on the ladder, so I don't have the Game Heart add-on to show you guys all the cool things like income, graphs, and all that, but trust when I say Reynor is going to have a lot of money to work with if the game continues at this pace, and he's going to need it, because he's going to have to make a lot of banelings to break the lines of his opponent. I always love referencing Rogue, even though Rogue is hardly, like, the hot shit anymore. But Rogue would always do like 50 plus banelings, and it would look comical. The first engagement would be so bad, but then there's 50 more banelings behind it, and another 50 more banelings behind that. And suddenly you realize, well, the first engagement was terrible. It just paved the way for the second and the third, and the Terran just can't deal with it at that point. We also have a Thor coming out. Weapon upgrades will benefit that, as well as the tanks. I'm less convinced by Thors nowadays. If you guys have missed a lot of the changes, they've been tweaked. They've been kind of nerfed in regards to dealing with mutas, but kind of buffed in regards to dealing with things like Broodlord. So choose your battles, I guess. This run by is going to be absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. It is only on 1-1, but there's nothing at home to defend. Defenses are compromised. uThermal not pulling back, though he continues to push across the map. I don't want to quite label this as a base trade just yet, but he is going to trade out his natural base for the 4th base here of Reynor. Those banelings didn't do jack squat, by the way. And the natural does, in fact, fall. He's going to pull out of this, maybe go back home or go for the 3rd. Either way, he's got to find a way to stop this push, because it doesn't matter how many bases he has on the map. It doesn't matter how many drones he has. If he can't actually deal with the tanks, he has no hopes of ever engaging with those banelings. So here comes that big 2-pronged attack I'd kind of referenced earlier. I suppose he's going to hit from the south, can hit from the north. I realize I show camera positions for opposite of what I said, but it doesn't matter. He rolls through, takes the hits. uThermal is cleaned up. Those medevacs now in full retreat. The Mutalists will likely give chase. 17 mutas to hunt down these medevacs should be an easy grab. And of course, while Reynor did lose this base, if you guys were watching the mini-map, he put a new one down already. It's almost finished. So again, he retains his drone count. Not that many workers have actually died for him this game. He can just transfer those over. His economy remains mildly interrupted, but ultimately still great. And this is where we're starting to get some big baneling numbers. 13 on the field right now, another 11 on the way. uThermal's got a couple of Thors, he's got... It's like my direct strike strategy. If you guys watched that terrible video from a couple days ago, he's got so many medevacs. 13 medevacs is almost too many medevacs. Not quite one per each Marine, but Thors with a little bit of support. Tanks on the ground too. Natural base was, of course, compromised earlier, leaving a big gap in the defense. So these mutas are going to cut off reinforcements. And I don't know if those mutas are going to be better doing this and stopping new units from coming across the field, or getting home and helping defend. Because being at home, there's the threat of the Thor killing the Mutalisks if he messes this up. Banelings coming in small patches, not by accident, but on purpose. Realizing that he can't quite take that engagement with the tanks, he'd just lose everything if he dedicated to it. So segmenting units to the left here, he loses another hatchery. As there's some tough losses for Reynor, but you can see how reserved he is by this. I can't express how excited I am to see how calm he is. I think a lot of Zerg players might F2, they might A move, they might panic in this situation, but he yields the base. And again, finally workers go down, but still on 67 to the 46-2 base of his opponent. Reynor's economy remains supreme. Now, this is a lot of mutas he's invested into this game. We should actually talk about this. His lead through the resources lost at the moment is very easily personified through these mutas. 22 mutas is 2,200 minerals, 2,200 gas, and they're so freaking fragile. If he loses them in one engagement, that's everything. That's everything he's gained, gone. But they are both on 2-2 for the ground engagement. 37 banelings to 48 marines. Almost 100 zerglings to go with this. I mean, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4... 5-pronged, well, you count the mutas, 6-pronged attack, full surround, Xbox 370, I don't know what you want to call it, guys, but Reynor set up for something big if uThermal pushes into him. Now, this is what's going to be kind of key, I feel. Well, he's got these key positions locked down. He doesn't have to engage into uThermal. uThermal is very much the one who has to engage into him. Reynor knows this due to the Mutalist run-bys and constant attacks on the other side of the map. Seeing the natural base not retaken, seeing no 4th base, killing all these SCVs now, it's without a doubt in his mind, uThermal has to push. And that's where you spring the trap! Kaiba, you triggered my trap card! Okay, I said that maybe a little too soon, but all these banelings are backing away. They're ready to fight. Mutas on the other side of the map continuing to cut off reinforcements. This SCV line sees the banelings, kind of goes for a whoopsies. Banelings on the front are being soaked up by the Thors. Maybe not as good of a trap as I thought this was going to be, but still, Reynor, without a doubt in my mind, still has control of the situation. 28 more Zerglings are being made. He's not triggered enough to push into a fight. He's feeling calm. He's feeling good. He's going to handle in this position. And for uThermal, this is his last big fight, I feel. If this doesn't work, there's no recovery off of this. I don't care how good you think mules are, dear balance complainers in the Twitch chat, or, well, in this case, YouTube comments, because, hey, it's a YouTube exclusive. What's up, guys? But yikes! This could be it. One way or the other. Rolls in, Baneling kills the Thor, that's always cool. Grabs a bunch of Marines with a cluster of Banes. Tanks are still set up, but there's no reinforcements getting across the map. These mutas are doing such a great job policing that. But here we go. Finally, he triggers the trap card. All the Banelings, all the Zerglings. Marines kept in the backside. He realizes this too. Oh my god. We're going to rewind after this if this is not the end of the game. Because there was such a sick engagement that just happened there. Oh, a little bit of salt with that too. But hold on. Let's back this up a sec. This was such a cool move. Now look. I'm all for Terran. I'm a big Terran fan, right? I'm super biased for Terran. You know this well. But here's something key that Reynor realized that I think is so important to him winning this game. He does not know about this chunk of Marines to the back. Not at the moment. No vision. He sees like one Marine. Maybe he reads from that. I don't know. But what he's about to do, if you guys can catch that engagement, is he was ready to just A-move in and splash everything and, you know, YOLO. And probably still would have won even if he did that. But he takes this chunk of Banelings. He's about to segment these off to the side, realizing, wait a minute, there's not enough Marines with this army. Where are your Marines? So he selects these Banelings, rolls them around, keeps them back. I don't think he knows where they were coming from, but he says, I'm going to at least have a chunk of Banelings alive to deal with this. And that's where he locks down the game. Oh, he's so good. He's so good. And if I don't see both of these guys meeting up in the finals, I'm going to be heartbroken. Remember, probably I think this goes live on the 6th, unless you guys have seen this on a different date, then I probably messed up when we released it. But on the 7th of April, we've got qualifiers for our upcoming tournament. I implore you, if you're in the European time zone or you're awake at 10 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Pacific, 7 CET PM, that's when we're going to have our qualifiers groups on every single day. Same start time, just different days. 7th is going to be qualifier. You're welcome to come compete. Top 2 advance to playing groups against players like this. Then we've got 2 groups set up. Reynor and uThermal are both competing. I'm excited to see how those go. But oh my goody gosh. This was a tasty game for Reynor after such a rough early game. That attack really punished him early on. I'm glad to see him bounce back from it. But as always, make sure you guys comment if you liked this VOD. I've been pushing YouTube really hard lately because we've got our new channel set up. I think it's going fairly well. And if you guys want to see more YouTube-focused content, I'm down to do it. You just got to ask for it. So comment down below, like the video, and as always, to the spoiler-free screen!